vernacular place in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, undivided Andhra Pradesh. So they able to just get the first newspaper, color was introduced by Hindu. So then later the Inados adopted the that kind of a strategy. So basically, kind of things taking this kind of a new aspect. So implementing, so it will be casting in the to just print a particular paper in a new in color. So that I mean during 90s, early 90s. So it will be difficult. I mean early 90s. I mean very difficult to just when the cost will be just rising. So that way, so Hindu, not Hindu, so Udayam paper. So it was right now, it's Udayam paper is not by. So Udayam is established by Dasanara and Rao. So it was initially it also just taken certain steps to just improvise its circulation as well as to just reach to the common people. So that way they will introduce the color printing paper. So early 90s, so that not be able to just sustain for a long time. So in order the same kind of aspect they adapted it, and the same kind of color paper pages introduction is done. So that way they will to just get from typewriter, then it will be passive mail kind of that will pack that can be different technologies. So we will later will discuss it to them in each newspaper how they will just taken different strategies to retain in the market. So we will discuss about the how the growth is happened. So the kind of strategies and systems, the kind of untapped market they will discover. They will just see different aggressive marketing strategies so that can able to just reach to the people and just try to just increase the sales of the particular newspaper. So as just Robin Jeffrey, so author of the Indian newspaper revolution. So you can just available this this book is written on the growth of Indian language newspapers in India. The written by Robin Joffrey. So he's British India. So till 2000, he has given the figures, the kind of a growth, the kind of a development in Indian newspapers, especially in Telugu as well as the Hindi newspaper. He has been given the what are the aspects, what are the elements that have been just propelled the growth of the language newspapers. So it's limited, just not limited. It's explained the different factors. Yes, studied. Carried out, studied, and just just gone into details the aspects and study the which aspect is given boost to them, given the growth, instant growth to the particular newspapers. That is the way he is. Said Robbins said his race began to reach its audience. So that's kind of a quote he has given. So circulation of Indian newspaper, for example, has risen from the less than 8 million in the early 1990s to the more than 25 million in 2009. So that kind of a growth. So that's the aspects, this is the factors that will just increasing literacy level, the purchasing power increasing, that kind of aspects, the kind of strategies, the kind of aggressive marketing strategies, as well as different implementation of different innovations in newspaper and maybe presentation. That is all matters to just improvise is their circulation levels. So we'll just discuss about the growth of the periodicals and the language newspapers. So Indian language newspaper, especially Hindi, Malayalam, Marathi, as you know. So that way, this is the main. That when we speak about the Indian languages, these are the major languages newspaper that will just see instant growth. So Malayalam, Marathi, Telugu newspapers, phenomenal growth. They have just witnessed instant growth. So maybe the kind of strategy, the kind of aggressive marketing methods they adapted. That way they will be able to just reach more people and able to just improvise their circulation. So we'll speak about the periodicals in India. Register of Newspaper Report categorized the periodicals into 21 groups. So the even Second Press Commission report classified them into 10 categories. So one is news and current affairs journals, the opinion journals, farm journals, economic financial journals, science journals, literary and cultural journals, women journals, and children journals, and sports and film journals. This is the way. So 10. So it will be this, the Second Press Commission. So classified. These are the periodicals that will how that will newspaper will be just classified into different sections. That way it will just classified in 10 categories. Classified in 10 categories. It will news current affairs, the opinion journals, farm journals, economic financial journals, science journals. So literary and cultural journals, women journals, children journals, and the sports journals and film journals. So this is a way. So how it will be just classified into different categories. So whoever willing to start a newspaper, willing to start a news journal, so they want to just first they need to just require to just visit to the Register of Newspaper of India website. They need to just register their name, title of the paper, title of the journal. So once they get the approval, there will be certain formalities are there. So how many corporates will likely to do just focusing. So that way, the kind of information, the kind of a bank deposit, they need to just deposit. So based on the, the reports and the kind of title, suppose they keep it our title, so on online, so that nobody can just raise kind of any objections. So once it will cleared, so our title once cleared and approved, then we'll just ask you to just how you just go. It will be daily, it will be weekly, it will be fortnightly, it will be monthly. That way, so you need to on which category you need to fall the your title. You need to just position, you need to classify, and you need to just, segregate kind of things. So in which format, in which category you need to bring out our newspaper or journal. That is the kind of way. So procedure is there. You can just go through and just have a look at them in a list of newspaper in India RNA websites. They will just get a lot of information. So what are the status of the press in India? So what are the latest updates? We can just go through even in detail the figures as well as data. So from Malayalam to, you can just see Inadu circulation, or maybe Anand Bajar Patrika, or maybe Punjab Cases, any kind of a newspaper. They will just regional papers as well as the English newspapers. So Hindi newspapers, you will get the all details and the data latest updates. So every year, the newspaper has that data will be updated. So you can check and just get to know the details of the each and every newspaper that published in India. Once it's got the nod and permission from the Registrar of Newspaper of India. So that's the way. So the features of the newspaper current affairs periodicals as a witness in recent years have seen the emergence of the investigative journalism, investigation reporting, backgrounding, and incisive comments, and the team-based and interview-based reports with effective pictorial and graphical presentation. So this is a one more aspect that right now, we have been data journalism is there. So data presentation. So how you are just presenting the data in a different format. So in attractive formats, in a different format as well as in attractive format in an elegant way. So that can, once you see that graphic itself, you'll be able to just grab what the graph and what the chart you will able to just highlighting. So that kind of a simplification, the kind of a presentation got the more importance. Even the data journalism, we have a data journalism, there will be specific course as well as so how to present our data in a nice and attractive manner. So that kind of way. So through using the graphics, as will be graphics, or taking the pictorial support as well. There is kind of, even you can just have the color combinations, which color it will be suitable, what kind of a color we need to use to in order to just get more eyeballs, more attention, more viewers able to just grab the attention kind of thing. So this is the way. So this is a better journalism. It will give you a lot of information. That's how to present that data in a visible as well as a easy as well as a more elegant way, more attractive way. That kind of way. So that was the main way. Then is more one more thing is the kind of alignment is there. So how the alignment, the kind of the lead is the kind of a bullet points, putting a bullet points in the first line, so that you can able to just summarize the whole content of the news. So that in a bullet points, the kind of a presentation that will be there. That will be the presentation will the layout will be, sometimes it will be kind of a horizontal, it will be kind of a vertical, it will be semicircular kind of thing. So different kind of formats that will be presentation will be differ from paper to paper. So the kind of a color combination, the kind of the font size, everything will be just matters, and it will be able to just establish presence, and they will be able to just get more eyeballs through their presentations. That is the main kind of thing. So that is the main aspect that will try to just get more attention, as well as being able to just increase the circulation. That is the main aspect of the growth of this newspaper. Next, moving on to the next slide, the literary and magazines constitute the second largest group. So first is dailies and weekly journals, that will be periodicals, that will be getting the more first position. So in second position, so literary and cultural magazine constitute the second largest group. The bulk of these magazines, particularly those with a large circulation, follow a formula of mixed content in order to appeal a diverse taste, thereby attract the more readers. Like Mangalam, Malayalam Manorama, Malayalam Weeklies, Kumundam, so Tamil Weekly, Ajkal in Hindi and Urdu are the most of the examples of this sections, periodicals. These are more able to just attracting through the mix using the method So formula method of mixing the content. So in order to just appeal diverse taste, that's kind of a strategy, that kind of a method. They try to just retain the more viewership. So opinion periodicals are the distinct from the news magazines. Also, as also from journals of entertainment for leisure time reading. So they are generally is concerned with more themes of current interest, current like seminar as well as mainstream or illustrations of this category. So this is the main periodicals. So that will be so first weekly, then it will be the literary magazines, then it will be kind of periodicals, the opinion periodicals. So how they will be able to just retaining the more readers. So next the farm journals, as the name implies, so deal with agriculture and other allied activities. So Secretariat, Gram Sevak belong to this group. So number of women's journals in India is not commensurate with the strength of their population in the country. So Anita Malayalam fortnightly from the Kottayam has the highest circulation in this category. So Femina and English periodical is also gaining importance. The Sports Star English fortnightly started in 1978 as weekly is a leading example of this category. So there is a specific kind of magazines, some sports are related to them, and related to sports items, as well as been Vanita from Malayalam. It may be able to just getting more prominence, more more popularity in Kerala. So there is been agriculture. So there will be here in Telugu also Annadata will be just kind of been small. It will be under this group. So farmers that way. Shekkari, Gram Sebak was also this farm journals that were able to just specifically targeted at the specific farming group. So the first commission, second commission, what they first commission and how they were established, what kind of suggestion they have given. The first, the press commission was appointed in 1952, September 1952. So another chairmanship, Justice Radhaksha. So to study the working condition of journalists, freedom of the press, and the machinery for ensuring high standards of journalism. That is the main intention to study. So what is the growth of the, how it will just taking place. So what kind of aspect, how they been getting into this kind of thing. So after studying the conditions as well as freedom of the press and the status of the press that in Indian territory. So they suggested a few recommendations. Submitted its report in 1952. Sorry, 52 is established, and 1954 it submitted its report. So they have suggested them established a press council to safeguard the freedom of the press, help the press to maintain its independence. So that way, the Indian Press Council was established, was suggested to establish in order to just protect the independence of the press, to censure the objectionable types of journalistic conduct, and by all other means to build up a code in accordance with the highest professional standards. To keep under review, so any development likely to restrict the supply and dissemination of news at public interest and importance, to encourage the growth of a sense of responsibility and a public service among those engaged in the profession of journalism. So that's why this is the suggestion that will given. This is a recommendation that given by the so Rajesh first commission. Next, to study the development in the press, which may tend to the toward maybe tend towards some concentration and monopoly, if necessary, to suggest remedies as well as. So the kind of a monopoly. So in other countries, there will be kind of a, so those who are publishing, those who have been involved in the printing of the newspaper, they are not allowed to just have a news channel, or they are not allowed to just have their own websites. So that kind of in Australia, so that kind of a formula, there's those who are having the television channels. So news channels, they are not allowed to just brought out their print editions. So that kind of restrictions are there in Australia. So the different countries having different methodology mechanism to just control. So that, so why this monopoly? What kind of aspect? What kind of influence it will have? You just person. So India, it's right now. The monopoly kind of content is there. So we see in the big, large corporate companies are just even take about the Reliance group is having the newspaper, is having the electronic media. They are into the distribution of the news channels. So even in order having the print media, electronic media. So that way, Times of India has its Times Now television channel as well as the print Times of India newspaper, and also they are having the radio. So that is there. The presence is there in every sector. So print media, electronic media, so online media. They will just have the command. That way, they all just try to just influence the content. They try to just mobilize the opinion at the kind of a way. The whatever the content it will use, they try to just they give the one version. They maybe try to just influence the public through their piece of articles or maybe their news articles. That is the main intention of the government India. So, which the concentration is means grown, it will just improvise. So there will be kind of bias information will be likely to be just scope that will be just influence that will give the one version of the kind of, and that is the main intention of there in a stage of that the recommendation was suggested. That is the main kind of reason why we just should not, we need to just curb the monopoly, we need to control the monopoly. That is the kind of an initiative that taken early stages as well. So next, to publish reports at least once in a year according to its work on reviewing the performance of the press, its development and the factors affecting them to improve methods of recruitment, education, training for the profession by creation of suitable agencies for the purpose such as the Press Institute. So Press Institute of India is there. So they will brought about there will be specific print version is there. You can just get Vidura is there. So the general that will just Press Institute under the Press Institute of India, they will just bring out monthly journals. So that way it will just able to just work on the way, whatever the aspects, whatever the new elements that incorporated in the journalism. So what kind of measures, what kind of attitude, what kind of status the press is enjoying, the kind of articles that will be able to just print in their Vedura. That way there will be one more the Kurukshetra is there. That will be different kind of things. So they will just go on just publishing this thing. So next we'll move on to next slide. So second press commission. So we'll discuss about the post emergency. So second press commission was set up in 1978. So under the chairmanship of the Goswami. So but the commission was reconstituted and again. Later the commission was reconstituted in April 1980. So under the chairmanship of K.K. Matthew. So that way, so this also just given certain reports. The commission, its report submitted in 1982 said that the role of press in developing a democratic society should neither be that of an adversary nor an ally of the government. So should we have the balance kind of things? It will have the role in it just wherever it's required. They need to point out, they need to raise questions. They will suppose kind of they will be just like take the government in a constructive manner. It will be constructive criticism that they should need to maintain a balance. They always try to just keep an vigil as well as the just give suggestion where and when is government is required. So the kind of decision that way the democracy will be in democracy that can be balanced will be there. So this is the main kind of a way the kind of a suggestion we just made. The commission felt that the editors should insist on their right to have the final say in the acceptance and rejection of the advertisement, especially those which border on or across the line between the decency and the obscenity, legitimized claims of for a product or a service and the property of a magical remedies. So here in this commission also they mentioned that the final word be the editor should be given the final final decision making authority. So whether he will be able to just he will given the freedom so that he can just reject or accept any kind of ads. So when let's say suppose in the first under the Rajadhaksha it's given the newspapers right now newspapers industry is becoming the commercial vultures because they are more concentrating on the kind of getting more information, more commercials on the newspapers. It's been generally the newspaper was considered as a service motive. So it's when it was during the freedom struggle as well as the pre-independence day, the kind of a motive which was considered journalism profession as a sacred profession. They will be serving to the people. So they whatever the sorrows, whatever the grievances are, they will the person will approach with the journalist. So they will able to just show him the solution or maybe just take it to the issue to the top authorities so that can the problem, the grievances, the issue can get resolved. That kind of sanctity, that kind of a bridge, that kind of a the attitude of that kind of the way people are able to just imagine the journalist. So the kind of they will be just they able to serve, they able to their profession is to service motive kind of thing. So that is the main intention earlier. So when Rajaraksha is commented that when in 1984 in this report that when all print media is right now becoming a commercial vulture. So that kind of the service model slowly just declining, and I mean commercial elements getting more and more prominence day by day. That kind of aspect that is that main element is highlighted in this report. In second report, commission is here insisted that when editor should be given the final making decision, final taking decision, so that he can accept, he can reject, and keeping in mind mind that we kind of particular product, so that we'll be able to claiming the magical remedies or any kind of they should be legitimized. There should not be any kind of obscenity in the ad, so that can they will be able to print in the particular newspaper. That's the kind of the report is given. We can move on to next. What kind of suggestion second press commission is given to the editor authority. It said should extend not only to the contents of the advertisement but also to the proportion of space devoted to them. So how much space we supposed to devote? So on newspaper, that kind of a decision has to be the decision that making decision should be given to the uh, editors. That kind of aspect will be just highlighted in this one. It said that positive role of the press of bringing together the diverse elements in the relation in the nation's life by emphasizing those aspects which tend towards unifying the communities is as important as avoidance of objectionable communal as well as the casteist writings. So the way, so bringing together some diverse elements. So we need to maintain a communal harmony. Just we see that every news item should be carried in a nice way. It should not be able to just making any kind of a hatred comments. It can be instigating any kind of a community. So through writings, we see that the balance should be maintained. So next, the what is the impact of the what why after this two commissions reports recommendations. So what we have faced, what we have seen the kind of a change, the impact of the press commission. The press commission was established. After that, so this after going through this report, the press commission, press council was established by the Act of Parliament in 1965. The first president was Justice Rajagopal Iyengar. So he was the first council. Based on the suggestions, this press council was established. So by the Act of the Parliament 1965, the council had 28 members, out of whom 20 were nominated by various newspaper organizations. So then one more thing is when Working Journalists Act of 1955 recognized the working journalists as industrial workers as recommended by the Press Commission and empowered the government to set up a wage board to fix the minimum wage for journalists. So this is the one kind of an element. So that will be this more the wage board. So the wage board. So whatever the wage board give suggestion, the newspaper is supposed to has to just implement the recommendation. That is the way. So like from the establishment of this Working Journalist Act 1955, from there, so till now, so many in recently 2009, so Majitaya Commission was established. So it's given its report in 2012. So then it will 2014. So this Supreme Court as well as given that this kind of a magistrate's recommendation should be implemented. The all newspapers supposed to follow the wage board magistrate recommendations and just implement in their respective newspapers. That way, the kind of wage board recommendations from time to time is making the suggestions, making the new guidelines, so that they be able to just recommend as well just direct the newspaper to just adopt these guidelines as well as implement their newspapers. The revisions of their pay, the salaries, the kind of the persons how many suppose how many working hours. So suppose he has to go for outside. So what kind of the kind of benefits will be given, the stay, the kind of accommodation, the kind of traveling allowance. So it depends on the position. That way, everything will be just in detail given in the Working Journalists Act. Next, moving on to the next thing. So the newspapers Price and Page Act of 1956, which was passed in accordance with the Press Commission recommendations related to the space for advertisements and number of pages. So the number of pages it will be this act depends on the whatever the suggestions given with the two commissions. Based on the commissions only, this newspapers Price and Page Act was just passed in 1956. in order to just this is related to the advertisement as well as number of pages in a newspaper. The court said imposing restriction on the business aspect of the newspaper would amount to an infringement of the freedom of the press. So after that, I mean, this law, so the court they will reach this, so there should not be kind of, I mean, restrictions related to the pages, related to the advertisement. So it will be kind of, I mean, just involving into the daily business activities of newspapers. Also, this will be infringement of the freedom of the press. So that is the way. So they will once they will this act led to the uh, led and just what their just approach to the court, and the court has given this verdict that they should not interfere in the business activities of the newspaper. Next, press during the emergency. So declaration of the news emergency in 1970, June 1975. So by the government of Indira Gandhi, it came as a shocking blow to the Indian press, which was its greatest victim. So that way, so during the Independence Day, so there was a pre-censorship was imposed on the press during the emergency. So every newspaper is supposed to just go through the pre-censorship, whatever the items supposed to they print. So they will need to submit to the government. So they will just verify, and then they will allow to carry on the newspapers. That is the way. So even during the emergency period, the Indian Express, so they will just release the blank paper with red headlines, censored. This item is censored, kind of thing. So that kind of a censorship was witnessed during the there will all freedom is mean just they are not allowed. They have the freedom to just publish. So they are supposed to just submit the pre-censorship. That's kind of been there. So that way, during that period, newspapers not able to enjoy the full freedom. The Indian press, so economic. So we'll see the what kind of economic reforms that we brought into this after liberalization. So the Indian press has entered the liberalization phase with the government decision to open up the print media to foreign direct investment. FDA was allowed in newspaper foreign direct investment up to 26% has been allowed in newspaper and current affairs publications. So in technical, medical and specialized science journals, foreign equity is to be allowed up to 74%. That is the way. So foreign direct investments allowed in newspaper sector, in periodicals, in scientific and as well as uh, so technical medical journals was freed up to they can invest up to 75% newspapers. So we'll just see the Indian languages newspapers growth. So Indian language journalism contributed immensely for the national independence here. So we are talk about the before or just after the independence. We just have the kind of what kind of the aspects how the this different press commission was established. So we're just moving back a little bit. So during the pre-independence days, how the language newspaper is established. So Indian journalism has contributed immensely for national independence, democratic evaluation, so national integration and progress. There, language newspaper played a vital role in shaping the opinion and just mobilizing the people. Earlier we spoke about the how the newspapers work is mobilizing the people, working as opposition as well as motivating people and create just able to instigate the initial consciousness among the people, and also just creating the feeling that oneness. So oneness only we can able to achieve the independence. That kind of a play, that kind of a vital role newspaper has played in the pre-independence. It continued to play a major role in public opinion formation, dissemination of information related to the politics, economics, technical developments, and international affairs, sports, culture, and other related aspects. This also focus in regional language newspapers. Newspapers in India, on the basis of language, can broadly classified into two groups: so English newspapers and language newspapers. Earlier, during the pre-independence days, so there were three categories. Now, so one category is owned newspapers owned by English newspaper, owned by newspaper. Second category is owned by Indians, but printed in English language. And the third was a local language, so vernacular language newspapers. So yes, the earliest Hindi newspaper was started in Calcutta in 1826. So it was a weekly, Udund Martand. So it was considered the first weekly. So in Hindi, the two is brought its publication from Calcutta in 1826. So its editor, Jugal Kishore Sukul, so needed postal facilities to dispatch to the readers outside Bengal. From the government, when approached, refused to the grant this postal concessions. So you need to expand. So once the base of a printing this newspaper is in Calcutta, so you want to just spread, you want to just circulate the newspaper. So since he approached the British India government to just give the postal concession so that can be able to just distribute his newspaper to the different regions of the country. So that way, initially, the British India government denied the permission. So in 1930, 1830, so Persian Urdu newspaper were published from Delhi. So two other newspapers, Usudul Akbar, then Muktabul Akbar. So one of the first newspaper, Jududul Akbar, was started in 1833 by Munshi Wajid Ali Khan in Persian. So that's the way. So next other newspapers in Urdu as well as Persian language is started. Next, Sayyidul Akbar is generally mentioned as the first newspaper started in Delhi. Sorry. So Sayyidul Akbar, so he is a generally considered as the first newspaper started in Delhi in 1836. Next, we move on to this Hindi newspaper, Jugal Kishore Sukul. This is another newspaper. Sorry. In 1950, so called the Samyudhani Martand. So next, Banga Doot, sponsored among the other by Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Dwaraka Prasad Thakur, appeared in 1829. So it was also published in English, Bengali, and Persian. This is also just published in three language: English, Bengali, and Persian. Nil Ratan Haldar was its editor. So he was the first editor. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, he was, Nil Ratan Haldar was his first editor. So a little bit with some maybe with error in my camera, so that may not able to just it's working properly. Okay. So next, Prajamitra was the third Hindi journal to just appear in Calcutta. So it really Prajamitra was considered as the third journal that appeared in the Hindi language. Next, in 1924, so there were one or two Hindi newspapers and 4 were dailies. So Aaj Banaras, Swatantra, Calcutta, Arjun, Delhi, Calcutta Samachar in Calcutta. So this is a newspaper that got popularity in 1924. That was started in 1924 as well as. So during the 1924, there were one or two newspapers and 4 were major dailies. These are the major dailies. So 1936, one of the important Hindi daily, Hindustan, was started. The sister newspaper of English daily, the Hindustan Times. It was the sister concern of the Hindustan Times. So now Bharat Times of the Times of India group started in Delhi in 1950 is one of the leading Hindi dailies. So that's the Hindi newspaper kind of started. Those having the English version, they have just shifted it. They are just concentrated to just bring out the language, Hindi language newspaper as well. So Amrita Patrika Allahabad is another notable Hindi daily, which is well known for its attention editorial. Ravivar, a Hindi weekly of the Sunday group, has a much influence as its better known sister journal. Sunday, the Hindi Bleach, Mumbai, has almost overtaken the circulation of the English edition. So that kind of a Hindi press, so that able to just get more prominence, get their more encourage, more people are just admired the Hindi newspaper. So we'll just move on to the Assami newspaper. So first Assami periodical, so Arunodaya, so made its appearance in 1846 AD. So its first editor was American missionary, so Oliver T. Cutter. So he was the first, that was considered as Arunodaya, first Assami newspaper. The journal was regularly published for over 36 years. So in the year 1971, the owner of the Unati publication, Sri Dattadev Goswami Prabhu, so brought the Dhamya Prakash Tantra from Calcutta for printing for printing purposes, which was the second printing machine in 1871. The Assami Bilashini, the second newspaper of Assam, came out. So in 1971, the Assami Bilasini, Assam Bilasini was, just started its publication from Assam region. Then Assam Mihir, so is considered the first known weekly newspaper in Assami language. Weekly newspaper. This is considered weekly newspaper. Earlier was the periodicals. In this paper is brought out in 1872. The Assami Darpan was published as a monthly magazine from Tejpur in 1873 and 74 period. So the first daily newspaper of Assam was Bhatori. So Bhatori was considered the first daily newspaper. So it was founded as a weekly in 1929. So in 1935 it became a daily. So next, the Dainik Assamiya started in 1946 was the second daily newspaper in Assami language. Next, Bengali. When speak about this, we'll discuss about the Bengali. Some of the greatest journalists of India were born in Bengal. So whatever the newspaper, so we know the first newspaper was brought out, printed from based in Bengal. So it will just first newspaper in 1780. The Hikis started newspaper from there, and Rajaram Moy also started from the day. The Miratul Akbar newspaper. So that is the epicenter of the publications. The first epicenter, it is called as center for publications that have been brought to different languages, Hindi languages, as well as the Assami, as well as the Persian papers that been started printing in the Bengal soil, on Bengal side. So that's the way. So Sarendranath Bajeti, Bipin Chandrapal, the Arvindo Ghosh, so the newspapers as a sentinels of the Indian nationalism. So they are the kind of leaders. They are just considered the most popular ones. They have brought about the newspapers based on from Bengal only. So Bengal Journal was when Samachar Darpan 1818 started by the missionaries by Carrion Marchman at Sarampur. Raja Ram Mohan Rai Sambat Komedi was also started in 1821. So that is the way how it will just Bengali newspaper was started. Sambat Komedi was a Bengali, so that was started in 1821. So Bengali Samachar Darpan was started in 1881. So by missionaries. So 1931, Ishwar Chandra Gupta started a Bengali daily, Sambat Prabhakar, and it was followed by the Tattva Bodhini of Akshay Kumar Datta in 1843. The first Bengali diary to adopt modern methods of production was the Basumati in 1880, which was edited by Krishna Kamal Bhattacharya. So he's the person who just started editing. He's given the responsibility to just work as an editor of this paper. In 1908, so Nayak, 1922, Anand Bazar Patrika, 1937, Juganta newspaper was started in Bengali. Next, Gujarat, we just move on to Gujarat. So Kheda Vartaman started in Khera in 1961. The Surat Mitra started in 1863. The Sayaji Vijay started in 1895. Gujarati Punch in 1901. So Sanju Vartaman in 1902. So Gandhi's influence on Gujarat journalism made itself felt soon after he took over the Navjivan from Sri Indulal Yajnik and converted it from the monthly to weekly. So that way, so from the Gandhijis, when we just entered into the Gandhiji who identified this print media as a potential media, so that it's using this media able to just spread the message, able to disseminate the message, able to bring about the change of in people's mind and maybe just motivate them to modern thinking. So whatever the kind of mobilization, the kind of appeal, that way he is identified this the popular media, so that he utilized and just from the Gujarat base, he started the newspaper Navjivan. So Navjivan connected into the Harijan Bandhu in 1932 and was edited by Prem Shankar Shukla, had distinguished contributors such as Mahadev Desai, K.K. Khelkar, Kishorlal Mashruwala, Narahari Parikh, beside Gandhi himself. So these are the popular persons who are just able to contribute their articles, their columns, their opinion pieces through this newspaper. In 1940, so Harijan group of papers was seized publication as a protest against the government's pre-censorship order, but they were revived in 1946 and continued its publication. Daily Prabha, the weekly now Saurashtra, owned by Kakal Bhai Kotari. So that kind of Daily Prabhakar and weekly Nav Saurashtra was being just started by this Kolkal Bhai Kotari. Next, Kannada newspapers. Move on to Kannada. So Kannada regionalism has been to be considered as a 150-year-old. So before independence, the reorganization of the states, it was spread over two princely states, Mysore, Hyderabad, two provinces of British India, Mumbai, and Madras. So that way, the Kannada journalism has its presence, it has been uh, scope and spread a scope and different princely states. It has been influence a scope in Mysore, princely, I mean, two princely states, Hyderabad and Mysore, as well as British India in Madras and Mumbai. The first Kannada newspaper, fortnightly, was published in Bangalore in 1843. So it was called the Mangaluru Samachara. So Mangaluru Samachara was the first Kannada newspaper considered to be believed to be first newspaper in Mysore, which was the home of Kannada newspaper in later half of the 19th century. The Mysuru Vrittanta Bodhini. So weekly appeared in 1859. So under the editorship of Bhashyam Tirmalacharya. So that way, so in Mysore, the newspaper this Mysuru Vrittanta Bodhini was started. Next, Venkata Krishnaya started more than it's been notable, one of the notable person in Kannada journalism. So Venkata Krishnaya started more than 10 newspapers in Kannada and English. So Kannada journals were Sampada Bhyudaya, the daily newspaper in 1912, Sadhvi, a weekly. So led by Gopal Iyengar and M. Srinivasa Iyengar started the Kannada Neding, uh, Nadingandi in Bangalore in 1895. So it was popular and had a great influence. Next, Kannada Kesari, based in Hubli in 1888. Weekly Gara Patrika in 1907. And Artha Sadhaka Patrika. Next, Artha Sadhaka Patrika in 1914. Next, Shogyodaya from Shimoga in 1914. Karnataka Nandini from Mysore 1916. Jaya Karnataka 1992. And Kannadiga 1925, Samyukta Karnataka 1933. So were more appeared kind of things that kind of I mean, these are the papers that played a crucial role in it, that have kind of that presence for felt during those days. So Kannada Prabha was brought out in 1957 and were famous newspaper circulated widely. So that was got the I mean, Kannada Prabha was more spread to different people. This I mean, more advanced. The first Marathi. So when moving on to Marathi paper, so the Marathi Darpan was been started on January 1832 by Balch, uh, Balshatri Jambedkar. So three popular weeklies during this period of 1904 were the Vartaman Deepika Mumbai, edited by the V.K. Gokhale. So Vichala Hari, Pune, edited by the Krishna Shastri, Chiplankar, and Dhumketu in Pune, that was started. So in 1948, the Indian Express Group started the Lok Satta in Mumbai. It was the first Marathi daily to appear after the independence. The Maratha Times, started by the Times of India Group in 1962, is one of the largest circulated Marathi daily, considered as one of the largest circulated daily. In Malayalam, earliest Malayalam newspaper was published from the Malayalam from Kottayam in 1940. It was called the Vijnana Nikshepam. So, name in Malayalam journalism is that of the K. Ramakrishna Pillai, who was through his in Kerala, a monthly, later a Malayali, a weekly, left a indelible impress on the Malayali writing. So, he has been Ramakrishna Pillai is considered as a pioneer. He is considered as an eminent person who is writing, is able to influence the public. Malayalam journalism has produced two outstanding journalists in it. Menon Pillai, editor of the Malayalam Manorama in 1890. KP Keshava Menon, the editor of Path Report in 1992. So the Malayalam journalism is given more kind of prominent, more journalists, more eminent journalists. So in tomorrow, just next class, we'll just cover the other Oriya and whatever the left out few Punjabi as well as Oriya papers. So we'll move on to this kind of the kind of Telangana press, Telugu journalism press development, as well as the kind of different strategies, what kind of technology they utilize. These are the aspects we'll just discuss in the next class. Right, Tilon, do you have any kind of doubts? You can just have a brief session, 1 or 2 minutes. No? Yes. Okay. Just I will wind up here. So thank you.